Thanks for joining me for a quick recap on the Southern colonies. These are the colonies of the Carolinas and Georgia, founded with both economic and religious motivations. The region was most known for its dependence upon cash crops, rice, indigo, and tobacco, and had a high demand for enslaved labor. So here are some of the major characteristics, and I have a much longer video to go more in depth on some of these characteristics that you can check out as well. But we're talking about the Carolinas, which originally started off as just one colony and then were split into both North and South, and Georgia. And the major goals were to obtain wealth. However, Georgia did have some religious inclinations, I guess you could say, in that it was going to be a haven for some religious dissenters. Not nearly to the extent that we see in New England. However, that was an aspect to the settlement of Georgia. Also, the idea was that Georgia would be a protective boundary from the Spanish Empire, and so they sent a lot of prisoners, especially those who were in the debtors' prisons in England, to the colony of Georgia. These were plantation economies, and which developed an extremely high demand for labor, which then led to huge increases in the transatlantic slave trade. For the American Indians in the region, there were initial alliances as part of the fur trade. English people also recruited them as slave catchers and also raiders. And so the American Indians at times would catch runaway enslaved Africans, and other times would raid enemy American Indian tribes and would capture their peoples and then sell them into slavery with the English. So this fueled a significant amount of intertribal warfare. So here's the significance, really looking back at that key concept here, in that how the environment really affected the development of the region. So the warm climate and long growing season and rich soil led to labor-intensive cash crops, and those labor-intensive crops then created a demand for a large workforce, which created this major participant in the transatlantic slave trade. So this developed something called a slave society, not a society with slaves, but a slave society, one in which was where almost all aspects of the civilization were dominated by slavery. So there was a rigid social hierarchy, extremely hostile conditions, and actual codified slave laws. So I hope that this information was helpful for you for reviewing the Southern colonies. If it was, please like and subscribe.